Good to see y'all. You know I got to start at 7:30. I'm prompt. And I'm gonna try to get y'all up out of here in an hour. In an hour. I want y'all out of here, man. I want y'all out of here. Some of y'all may not have ate dinner yet. Some of y'all may be eating while we talking. Some of y'all may ate too much. I don't know. Some of y'all ain't drinking enough water yet. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Y'all still got work to do. Y'all still got some work to do, y'all. You got some work to do. Excellent. 7:30. 7:30. You know I gotta push. I gotta push. It's good to see y'all today. Good to see y'all today. And you know what's gonna happen. All of a sudden it's gonna go ding, 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 ding. You know how it goes. That's all right. We're gonna push though. We're gonna push. We're gonna push. Excellent. So I want to cover a couple of things that were on my mind, a couple of exciting things that are coming up on the horizon. And I wanted to share a topic today that I think is going to be very enlightening. Maybe we don't really think about it, but I think it's going to really help you today. So first of all, I wanted to say congratulations to the people on the 60-day challenge. Y'all don't know yet, boy. Y'all don't know yet, but that 60-day challenge, boy, like I said, it's going to be a challenge. But the nice thing about a challenge, it's a challenge for a reason, right? It's called disruption, right? Anything that's a challenge and it's a real challenge, it's a disruption. It's a disruption to the old thought process, the old habit patterns, the things that you've been doing, not even realizing it. So those that are on the 60-day journey, congratulations. And I pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. That's all I got to say about that. But welcome. We always do this every month. Usually it's on the 6th. Really? On the second week, the second Thursday every month, I want to do, and I end up always doing an open workshop that we get an opportunity to cover some things over the course of the month. I also bring up some things that were on my mind. Many times there's many clients that are asking me several questions and I take notes that if a lot of people ask me the question, I end up just bringing it up. And also I'll leave some time at the end just to leave an open platform. Some people sent me some questions. Other people, if they have some questions that they want to bring up, that's excellent too. Also let you know that it will be recorded. So it will be on video and it will also be on a MP3. So there'll be an audio file that you can just, because I have an app where you can download it and listen to it like an audio book. And the other one is basically it's a YouTube video that you can have access to. All right. So excellent. So first thing, as you know, the Trainerize had an update, right? And boy, that was exciting. That was exciting, y'all, especially for many of y'all that are really, really like this, like, you better not be messing up my groove. So if that was the case, it was ironic because I've been using the app probably 7 years. I've never seen that before. But with anything else, any app, it could be the Windows, right? It could be Android, it could be iPhone. So there's always going to be a little hiccups. If my Windows don't crash every 6 months for something comes up and there's some bug or some code comes up, stop code. And I got to go somewhere and get it fixed. So thankfully it was temporary. And even if it wasn't, I got a game plan. We got some workarounds, but it worked out fantastic. And I hope you all enjoying the Trainerize app. Let me put everybody on mute, by the way. One of the things I did want to bring about the Trainerize app also is I actually been working on a couple of things, and there'll be actually some new videos that are going to come out. Actually, some of you, if you saw it already, it was a link that I sent 2 days ago, I guess it was, and it kind of gave you a walkthrough of the Trainerize app, but it was done in steps, right? So if a person had a question about a particular area, they can go right to that area as opposed to look at the entire video. Maybe somebody wanted to know how to adjust their caloric intake. Maybe somebody else didn't know how to put in exercises that not in the calendar, right? Everybody knows, or we can know about it now, that there's some exercises that are on the calendar. And it's usually, in this case, it's us discussing, saying, okay, what's your game plan? And we'll kind of put some things across the board. There's also another feature right below where the exercises are, which is below that, and it says activities. That would be the area where if you're doing walking, or if you're doing elliptical, if you're doing running or swimming or anything else, or just, something in general that doesn't have a name, that's where you can annotate that. So you can also put it on the Trainerize app as as an activity, right? So you have access to the ones that are already in there, which again, there's like 100. So if you never just took the time and just pressed workout exercises and you scroll through that thing, you'll be scrolling there for days, right? So it doesn't hurt every once in a while. Look at a couple, just open it up and look at it and say, that looks interesting. Or there might be some of the exercises, especially for the individuals that are doing the 60-day challenge, I kind of laid across a variety of different exercises. And the reason being is because just to give you a feel of what's available in the Trainerize app. And there might be some that you like the fact, hey, this is a straight video. I don't have any time in the morning, but I want to be able to just do something real quick for 25 minutes. I don't have to press a button. I can let it run. Well, that's great, because if that's how you roll and that's what you want to do in the morning, then we can designate exercises to do that. Somebody else might say, I like the fact of doing dumbbells, but I like the fact of counting the repetitions. Well, good. We have something can do that. Maybe you like kettlebells. Maybe you like dumbbells. Maybe you like resistant bands. Maybe you like yoga. Maybe you need some stretching because your body's sore. Maybe you have hula hoop. If you do hula hoops, maybe chair aerobics, right? So all of that is available, but it's just really a conversation between the two of us and saying what your thought process is, what you're looking to accomplish, what your goals are, and then we set up the calendar that way. All right. Instead of trying to fish through there, because good luck, because you'll be scrolling for days. It's easier just to say, hey, Wallace, I want to do so-and-so. Then we can kind of put together a program for that. So hope that helped. Next thing about the exercise is also, you notice that when you go through the exercise and you complete, right, you always want to go to the end and press complete. When you press complete, it uploads to the calendar and it gives you a green check mark saying it's complete. But you also notice at the end, it tells you a comment. It asks you for your rating of what you thought it was. Basically, it's saying from 1 to 10, from easy to hard. And the second one is comments, right? If what I ask you to do is the number 1, when you finish the exercise, just roll it to where you thought that was. If you thought it was easy, cool. If you thought it was hard, if you thought it was minimum, if you thought it was a 7, whatever it is, it really helps me a lot if you press the complete and then scroll that meter to where you thought the exercise was. If you thought it was a demanding exercise, that's good. It's good for me to know, because obviously I'm looking at everything that everybody's doing, but then next week or next month, when we start establishing new exercises, I can say to myself, no, actually, this may not be pushing her enough. So let me look at something else where I can aggressively do something. Or let's go the other way around. It might be something that, hey, I got back issues, Wallace, and these are rough. And that way we can talk about, or I can look and identify some modification exercises and I can put that in. Wallace, I can't do jumping jacks. Good. So now we go in and we'll find a modification and we'll give you a modified jumping jack. But again, I'm not going to know that unless you write a comment about it and let me know, and then we can make those adjustments, right? Because again, this is about you, but I want to customize it to make it as helpful as it is for you. All right. Makes sense on that, y'all? Next thing, I hope you guys are taking advantage of the recipe packs. If you are not, shame on you, right? There are too many recipe packs that are available for any and all, right? I would even challenge you just to open up, say, okay, let me look at the vegetarian recipe pack and let me scroll through it and just say, I'm going to pick one a week or one a month. I don't care. Just try them. But just say one a week. I'm going to go to the vegetarian recipe pack. There's 40, almost 50 recipes in there. Do not tell me you can't find something in there. Scroll through it and say, okay, I'm going to try this one. They're easy. They're simple. And the beauty is, if you did exactly what was on there, you can scan that barcode and it uploads the entire recipe on the MyFitnessPal. So you don't even have to fool with it. You just, boom, uploads right up. And it could be some things that you say, I don't know what to eat vegetarian wise. You can go through that packet and look at it and say, I never thought about that. Right. In fact, today I sent everybody the link about, which was very cool, was the sweet potato Parmesan, right? What? So you got roasted sweet potatoes, you get a little Parmesan cheese on there and put it in the oven, changes the whole dynamic of the meal. The other thing is, whenever you're using sweet potato, a great recommendation is to always use a little bit of olive oil, but sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on it. And that includes on your salmon. If you want to enhance the flavor of your salmon, the only thing you got to do is sprinkle a little cinnamon on it. A little cinnamon, not a lot. Don't dump it on there like it's a dessert. Just a little bit. Sprinkle it. I'm telling you, it enhances the flavor. So play with those. Another thing which enhances the flavor of any kind of fish is limes. Not lemons, but limes. Take a lime and squeeze it on your fish. It enhances the flavor of whatever you have on there. That includes using lime. Let's say that you have some chicken breasts. You might have just got it, but you open it up and it got a very unusual smell to it, right? Maybe you had it a couple of days, a little too long. It may not necessarily be the meat, but it is the blood that's in there and it's bacteria that's starting to be created. So what it does now, it'll actually give you the smell to the meat. So a nice workaround. I ain't saying eat outdated meat, y'all. What I'm saying is that the meat still has the time limit in it, but because of the bacteria, just sitting in the fridge too long, right? Still in the window, you can use it, but you squeeze some lime in there, put it in a Pyrex dish or whatever, squeeze some lime in there. And not only will it disable that smell, but it would also enhance the flavor of whatever else you do to it. That is a secret, a lime, you should have a bunch of limes, and whenever you can, drop those limes in there. The other thing, a lot of people have asked me about smoothies. And in fact, should I tell y'all? I ain't finished yet, but I'm almost finished with a smoothie recipe pack, a smoothie pack. But one of the things that some people are doing is they're having smoothies, but the smoothies are like green drinks. The only issue is if you having a smoothie as a green drink, it's not going to hold you that long. Right? So if you're going to have a green drink, the green drink is you're going to be hungry again, because technically, what is the green drink? The green drink is really a bunch of leaves, a bunch of plants, but that goes through your body so quickly because it's all carbohydrates, right? There's no protein there. So this is all carbohydrates. And the second thing is, if you're doing green drinks all the time, are you doing green drinks or are you adding other kinds of sweeteners to it? If you're adding other kinds of sweeteners, it's very simple for you to put in some orange juice. It could be very simple for you to use a lot of the fruits that are very, very sweet, like pineapples, has a lot of sugar. Grapes, a lot of sugar. Watermelon, yep, a lot of sugar. Right? So bananas, a lot of sugar. So some of your workarounds is, let's just talk about sweeteners again, is you could use a little bit of stevia. You could use a little bit of agave. You could use a little bit of dragon fruit. Dragon fruit, sweet. You can use some dates, pitted dates, pitted dates, pitted dates. That is an excellent, excellent one. It's big time sweet. a lot of fiber, and plus the fiber is going to help, right? So sure, you can have a green drink, but what we end up doing is that we put in so much fruit in there that you could literally have almost a half a pineapple. And now you basically turn this into a fruit juice as opposed to a green drink. So the recommendation would be, sure, you can have a green drink, but you can turn that into a protein smoothie. You can do the exact same thing, but instead, why don't you take some almond milk? You can have with the almond milk, here's a beautiful one, is you can take some avocados. You take the avocados and you cut them up into blocks. Once they're cut up into the blocks, now you put them in saran wrap separately, and then you take the saran wrap and you throw it in the freezer. Now, when you're making a smoothie, take a couple of blocks of the avocados and now throw that in the smoothie. What did you do? You made it creamy. You put in some good fats. You put in some good proteins, and you've enhanced the body of that smoothie. So now it's going to last longer. Another good one is putting in Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has the highest amount out of all the dairy-based products. Greek yogurt has the highest amount of protein. The highest amount of protein you can get out of any kind of dairy is Greek yogurt. But you want to get the vanilla Greek yogurt. Just give you a little, right? Because you can get a little vanilla in there. Vanilla Greek yogurt, plain vanilla Greek yogurt, right? And just throw in a couple scoops. The other one is the whey protein. If anybody remember, I sent a link and I fell in love about 6 months ago with the Wegmans whey protein powder, off the chain, and the dairy that they use are from cows that are not they were not fed pesticides and everything else. So, because remember, whey protein is dairy, it's casein. Casein is dairy, right? So whey protein is dairy. But they have a chocolate and they have a vanilla, and I love it. And in fact, their sweetener, they have a little sweetener, but they put stevia as their sweetener, right? So you're winning all the way around. The second thing is that whey protein is the easiest, most effective way to get protein, because you can use a plant-based protein and you can use a pea-based protein. A lot of people have a negative reaction to the pea-based protein because their gut, for whatever reason, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people with the pea-based protein. Plant-based protein is good, but it's not a complete protein. Plant-based protein is not a complete protein because a complete protein has to have fat. So if you're having a plant-based protein, there's protein there, but you still need a fat to connect to the plant-based protein in order for it to work effectively. Right? So here it goes back. You put in plant-based protein in your smoothie, but you have the avocados. There you go. There's your fat. There's your plant-based protein. You got it. Right? So you can have the plant-based proteins. You can have your pea-based proteins, but you got to play with it. See which one works for you. Which one is going to work? Which one doesn't? The other thing you can do, I love this one, is taking organic beets, cutting up the organic beets into blocks. Same thing, taking organic beets, clean the outside of it, get that crud off, cut this thing up in blocks. Same thing. You don't have to put in saran wrap, but you cut them up in blocks, throw them in a Ziploc, frozen Ziploc container, and boom, in the fridge, in the freezer. And when you make your smoothie, take a handful, boom, right in there. 3 things that does. Number 1, a lot of you not eating enough purple foods. Purple gives you a certain amount of minerals, vitamins, and phytonutrients. Remember, we're saying eat the rainbow, which means that when you're eating your food, you got to have foods that are yellow, orange, green, black, blue, red, purple. Each one of the colors gives you a different mineral and a phytonutrient. Phytonutrients are basically the nutrients that are in a plant in order to protect it from outside invaders. If you eat this plant that has phytonutrients in, guess what? Now you're consuming foods that also prevents your body from getting attacked by outside invaders. You can't get that out of a supplement, y'all, because phytonutrients is made by God to protect the plant. So you get phytonutrients from a plant. Phytonutrients are not made in a laboratory. Phytonutrients have to come from God in the plant. Phytonutrients means sun, plant, and basically it's a protection for that particular plant. So the two options you have is number one, try to eat organic produce. Number two is to eat whole food supplements. A whole food supplement is going to be a supplement that's organic, hopefully, but it's broken down into a powdered form. That means the water is all taken away, but now you're taking that supplement, and the supplement is basically a food. It could be alfalfa. It could be, I don't know, it could be chlorophyll. It could be any kind of the green. It could be botine. All these things that are outside invaders that protect the plant, those phytonutrients are now inside the vegetable or the fruit you're consuming. You get protected. Here's the thing, if you get vitamins that are whole food supplements, then when you take it, the body goes, yes, I understand exactly what this is, and the body will metabolize it. If you get a chemically made supplement, the body says this is a chemical, and it tries to figure out how to utilize it, and it may or may not use it. It may reject it. Your body may reject it because the body's like, this is a chemical. I don't know what this is. And again, the supplement industry is not controlled. It's not regulated. So you have no idea what you're consuming unless you've done your own homework. The simplest, not simple, but one of the easiest way you want to do any supplement that you are purchasing, at least you want to make sure that they are following what's called GMP. GMP means good manufacturing practices. Your vitamin should say that it follows GMP guidelines, GMP guidelines, good manufacturing practices. That means that they are self-enforcing them. They're self-enforcing the regulations. They're their own internal control. In order for you to be authorized as a GMP company, you have to be able to show that you are self-regulating your product. If your supplement does not say that, then you have absolutely no guarantee that they're being regulated or that you're getting what you want. You can get echinacea, and it'll say echinacea, and it'll say the first label, say echinacea on it. Then when you find out, yeah, it is echinacea, but it happened to be the echinacea bark, the bark of the echinacea, not necessarily the leaf. That's different. They're not lying. They're correct. They're not lying to you, but they're not telling the truth either. The second thing with supplements, we talked about this before, is your bioavailability. Bioavailability means how quickly it breaks down, how quickly your vitamin breaks down into your bloodstream. So again, you need to find out the bioavailability of your supplement. That means that as soon as it hits the bloodstream, did it dissolve? If it didn't dissolve, it can go literally right through your small intestines, because that's the only place where your body will get that supplement. It could dissolve in your large intestines. If it dissolves in your large intestines, you get absolutely no benefit whatsoever. Like I say, you get basically expensive feces. Your feces is very expensive now. You got absolutely no benefit from your supplement. And you know how long it takes? 20 minutes. That supplement needs to break down in your system in 20 minutes. If it doesn't, you can't guarantee you're getting a benefit. All right. All right. Last thing I wanted to bring up now was the importance of getting some sleep. So let's say, for example, that you're doing all this work. I mean, a lot of you are literally working out 5, 6 times a week. Trainer Rise is blowing up. That sucker look like a Christmas tree when I'm looking at it. Check, 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 check. Going across all day long, every day, all day. But if you're not getting enough sleep, you're kind of sabotaging all the work you're doing during the day. Because all the work you've done during the day, it requires you to go to bed. And the only time your body can recover from all the work you did during the day is during sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, the body can't recover. That means that the work that you did cannot rehabilitate. The only time your body can rehabilitate itself is during the sleep hours. Now, there's 2 things. You should try. Your goal should be 6 to 8 hours. But not only 6 to 8 hours, but try to get it at the same time. And if you're going to get your sleep the same time every single day around the same time, eventually your subconscious mind and your body knows, okay, you know what? Donna's going to sleep right now. It'll start shutting stuff down ahead of time. Like it already knows, okay, she's not going to be doing this, this, and this. She's not eating anymore. She's not going to exercise anymore. She's not really going to be reading anymore. And it mentally starts shutting down things in the background that it knows you're not going to use anymore because it knows you're going to bed at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. So to shut down all these things. So now when you go to bed, boy, you out like a light. It doesn't have to go through the entire process. Now you want to Netflix all night and you want to sleep one day at 10, 11, 12, 2, 1, 5, none. Your body's like, it's on 100%. Because they don't know when you're going to turn off the lights. So your body's just turbines running 100%. Because it's like, I don't know when we shutting down because I don't know when this chick gonna go to bed. She might want to watch a Sega. Oh, no, let me watch the next one because this is so intriguing to me. Now it's 2:30 in the morning. And you ain't watching TV but without eating. Come on, y'all. I ain't got to be in your house to answer that question. If y'all up at 2:30 in the morning watching Netflix, I guarantee y'all had some snacks. Guarantee. And did you put into MyFitnessPal? I can't promise that one neither. You might have slipped that one because you had amnesia because it was late. It was like you forgot all about it. I forgot. That's right. It was 2:30. I went to bed. I forgot. Wow, so I didn't put that in there. But the truth is, you know what you're doing, right? You're eating all these. Usually they're highly processed foods. You're putting sugar in your system in the middle of the night. Your body's trying to shut itself down. It's trying to recover, but you're putting in sugar. So now it's got to work on digestion. So your body doesn't operate multiple things at every time. Your body says, okay, what are we doing right now? And then it focuses. Right? So if you go to bed and you might have just had a handful, like me, I might have a handful of almonds and go to bed. Yes, I brush my teeth before I go to bed. But I might have a handful of almonds, right? Pop it in my mouth. I'll go upstairs, kiss my honey, brush my teeth. But I got this protein in here because the proteins are amino acids. The amino acids are going to help me during the night to help the muscles that I basically worked on today to start building other muscle fibers, to start building and strengthening the muscle and turning them into bigger muscles. Amino acids, proteins is basically the fueling block to do that. So if you go to bed starving, you're not giving it the protein it needs. You could have some carrot sticks and some almond butter before you went to bed. You could have a little bit of hummus. You could have, like I said, a handful of almonds. You could have, I don't know, string cheese, whatever, just to give your body a little smidgen of protein because you don't want to go to bed on an empty stomach. But if you go to bed with a whole bunch of food, now the body focuses on digestion. Because see, your blood goes to where it needs to go. So if you go to bed and you've got protein, your body's like, all right, I'm going to take the blood. And now we're going to focus on building some muscle. All the workout that they did during the day, I'm going to focus on that. But if you got a whole food, stomach's full, then the body's going, well, I can't focus on that. I got to focus on what's immediate. And immediate right now is to get rid of this stuff in my gut. So now all the blood works in your stomach to try to get that out. Let's assume that you had some alcohol. Make no doubt that when you take alcohol into the system, your body considers that as a poison. As soon as you take it in, the body goes, oh, what is this? Poison. What it will do now, it shuts everything else off and attacks the poison. Remember when I said my analogy is that every time you eat something, it goes down your esophagus, and now it hits your esophagus in your stomach. The body goes, are you a friend or are you a foe? If you're a friend, it goes right into the stomach. The body does its job, goes through the system, and it basically goes into the bloodstream and it'll use it. But if you're a foe, the body goes, hold on. Now you got to go over to these other organs and start sifting and cleaning and doing its job. And then when it's did that, then it goes back to the stomach. Then it goes back into the bloodstream. But when you take poison, and that's what alcohol is to the body, it turns into acetate. When the body receives acetate, it goes, oh, Lord, it shuts everything off. It shuts off digestion. It shuts off your healing. It shuts off your properties to help invaders attack you. It shuts off everything. It'll attack this totally. It eliminates this. And then when that dissipates, then it goes back to other areas. So basically, every time you take in alcohol, you're basically sabotaging everything else you're trying to do. Everything. I said everything. Can you have some wine? Sure, in moderation. But it still turns into sugar, right? Wine still turns into sugar. So if you're looking at carbohydrates, carbohydrates comes in at 4 grams. Protein comes in at 4 grams. Fats comes in at 9 grams. Guess what? Alcohol comes in at 7. So every time you drink alcohol, you're taking in 7 grams. 7 grams. Right above fat. Right below fat is your sugar from that alcohol. You're causing all kinds of havoc. Metabolism gets shut down. Body starts shutting down. Body's on alert, high alert. Oh no. What we gonna do? You got to get all that through first, and then you get back to the basics. So the key thing you want to do is that, number one, is to, if you're going to drink wine or anything else, there is antioxidants. Wallace, there's antioxidants. I heard it was good. Yeah. But it's not the wine y'all drinking here. They're like, well, in Italy, they drink a lot. Yeah, but they drinking real wine, y'all. They drinking real wine. You know, y'all drinking this. Anyway, you know, y'all ain't drinking this real stuff, man. Y'all drinking that night train and all that mess, right? So the wine you drinking here in the United States is not the same wine in Italy, in France. It's completely different. So you cannot compare you drinking wine here saying the antioxidants. Whilst I ain't trying to hear that. I like my wine. Yeah, but you ain't drinking the right wine. You can't act like you in Italy. There's a straight fresh wine. Like they get their wine's coming from a vineyard and they're getting it fresh. You said, well, mine's from Italy. Yeah, but it got to get shipped over here. And guess what? They got to put a little bit of chemicals in there to make it sustain itself on the ride coming over. You ain't getting the same thing. Listen, don't get me started. Don't make me go down this road. Y'all, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave it alone. Because y'all look all upset. Like, oh, now this dude's saying I can't drink no wine. I ain't fooling with y'all. I'm not going to fool with y'all. All right, let me talk about the topic I was going to talk about. I think I'm done here with y'all talking about that. Actually, hot off the press, you're going to get it tomorrow. I did I call it a go-to guide or a quick guide. You notice I've been pushing out some stuff. Y'all been getting some info, y'all. Y'all better be downloading, reading that stuff. I'll be working hard. Y'all better read this stuff, y'all. If I'm putting something out, it's worth a read. I'm telling you. So this one in particular is talking about frozen versus fresh fruits and vegetables. I think that is a very, very important thing to talk about. So I'm going to cover it. I'm not going to get in depth, and I'm not going to show it on the screen because but what I will do is I'm going to provide you a little bit of highlights about it. And I'm going to talk about the benefits of having frozen fresh produce and fruits. And I'm just going to bring up a couple tips. So let me start at the beginning. Is that when you're having fresh and frozen, it's tricky, y'all. And I'm going to talk about organic and not organic. Fresh and frozen first. Maryland, we kind of blessed because we have a lot of farms that are literally miles away from us, and we're getting that produce, and boom, it shows up in our local grocers, or you might on the weekends go to a farmer's market or whatever. And that's great. But if it's not in season, what are you doing? If it's not in season, we still go into the supermarket and we're still getting produce off of, you're still getting the same produce, but it's out of season. So it's out of season. There's a thing that's called oxidation. Oxidation means as soon as a fruit or vegetable is clipped off the stalk, there's oxidation. That means the lifeline has been cut, which means now the circle of life of the vitality of that particular fruit or vegetable now starts to decline. Your perfect example would be is if you have an apple, you cut the apple open, and then within 30 minutes, it starts turning brown. That's oxidation. Because what it does, because of the sugar that's in the apple and the oxygen hitting the actual apple itself, it starts to break itself down. It starts turning brown. Oxidation would be if you make some guac and 2 days later, that sucker start turning brown. And now you don't want to eat it. That's oxidation. Oxidation would be if you're going to get some organic produce that was from California because they're organic. By the time it gets shipped over to Maryland, how long did it take? A long time. Same thing with a banana. You cut a banana in half. You eat half the banana because you don't want to put 180 calories in MyFitnessPal. So instead, I'm going to just put 90. Right? Woo! You don't want to put 180 in there. No, man. Wiles be like, what in the world? But I'll put 90. But then what happens to the other part of the banana? It's brown, right? Oxidation. You can put it in the refrigerator and it's still oxidation because you opened it up and you made it accessible to oxygen. When there's oxidation, you start losing the vitality of it. So let's talk about frozen and we're talking about fresh. If you're getting a product frozen, now watch this. You're at the manufacturer. The manufacturer got it out of the farm. It goes into the processing. Within an hour, maybe hour and a half maximum, it's frozen, but it's called flash frozen. Flash frozen means basically goes in a giant warehouse, boom, sits there, and it's an extreme high temperature, and it just flash froze, just frozen like flash, quick. The beauty of that is the oxidation process stops. So here it is that you're getting a carrot from California. It's organic. It's still got to get travels all the way to Maryland. That could take a week, 2 weeks. Like your banana. That's in Colombia. Guess how long that takes? It's almost 45 days. From it to go from from Colombia to your grocer shelf, 45 days. But you get it in 4 days and it turns brown. You got to think about that for a minute, y'all. 45 days and you get it in 4 and it turned brown. How come it didn't turn brown before that? That'll be for another time, y'all. I ain't got time to talk about all that. The issue, though, is 2 things happen. That it goes in a giant warehouse and it's sprayed with gas. The gas, what it does, it expedites the oxidation process. Because remember, you're getting that banana, and let me tell you something, that banana was a baby when it got off that. It was taken off of the stalk as a baby. And if it has a baby, it never got a chance to mature, which means that it's no nutrients in there. It's just starch. So the potassium you think that you're getting in that banana does not exist. So you're not getting the potassium you think. It is a baby when it came out of the plant. So if it's a baby from the plant, do you think it got the nutrients that it needs in order to be mature? No. But it got all the way. Listen, if you got the banana that first day and it was still kind of greenish, it tastes like trash. You want to gag. That's how it was when it got off the stalk, y'all. It was a baby. It sits in a giant silo. It gets sprayed with this gas. The gas increases the expedition, and now it turns brown in 4 days. But what y'all going to do is you're going to throw it away. You understand that when it gets browner, it's sweeter. Why don't you just take it, cut it in half, and freeze it? What you throwing them away for? Freeze it. And then when you need a smoothie, take the brown banana. All you got to do is put it in the microwave for 15 seconds. Put it in the microwave for 15 seconds. It gets soft. Guess what? You take that knife, it'll cut like butter. And you drop that sucker right in your smoothie. Boom. End of story. Don't throw away. That's the sweetest time. That's when all the sugar is there that's available to you. Y'all chucking it out, throwing money away. Why? So the issue is that when you're getting frozen and it's from a distance, you're losing the oxidation. Because of oxidation, you're losing. Number 2, if you're getting it frozen, though, here's the 2 benefits. If you're getting it frozen, you take what you need and you cook that. So imagine if you're getting frozen, I don't know, string beans. It's frozen organic string beans. That means that, and this happened to me 2 weeks ago. I bought a bunch of string beans. I was at Safeway, man. They looked, they were just calling me. They're like, Wallace, come get me. So I bought a bunch. I didn't use it all. So I wasted half because I forgot I had some cauliflower, asparagus, broccoli, salad. I'm like, yo, I can't eat all this. So I tried to do our best I could, but what ended up happening is half the string beans got slimy. I had to throw it away. I threw it away. So I threw money away. But if I'd have got frozen string beans that are organic, I could have took what I wanted. I could have blanched it. Blanching means you just take a little bit of water, put it in the cover and steam it. So you don't make it wilted. So it's like, like a soup. You're just blanching it. I mean, you just hit it a little bit with some heat. It's still crunchy. It still has the crisp, and it still has the same nutrients pretty much that when it came out of the ground, because you stop the oxidation process as soon as flash frozen. So now you're not wasting money. You just take what you need. I'm not a big fan of the steamables because it's different. What I found when I use the steamables, it actually makes it too soft. Second thing, when I use the steamables, you're also putting it in the microwave. I'd rather just take the couple minutes and just blanch it on the stove, just heat it up. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to heat it up. You ain't trying to nuke it like it's popcorn. That's not what we're trying to do. We just want to heat it up, and then that's it. All right. So the benefit is fresh is good, but in many times frozen is better. Many times frozen is better because it's going to have more of the nutrients in it. Number one. Number two, you're going to save more money because you use what you need. And number three, let's talk about organic. Many times the organic, think about it this way. Organic may not necessarily mean that it's healthier. Organic just means that it's free of pesticides. So the string beans that you may get from a regular grocer and the string beans that are organic, they might have the same nutrients, y'all. They may have the exact same nutrients because the nutrients come from the soil. If the soil is depleted, you're not going to get any nutrients. If the soil has been enhanced and nutrients have been put into the soil, then you get that, because your vegetables only get the nutrients from the soil. That means if the soil is depleted, even if soil is depleted and it's organic, remember, organic basically means free of pesticides. It doesn't necessarily mean it's got more nutrients in it. Make sense, y'all? Never thought about it that way. Organic means that it's free of pesticides, and they use a natural source to prevent infestation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has more nutrients. You got me? So you look in organic, you're really focusing on the fact that because remember, if it's organic, that means then the soil is not polluted with chemicals. If it's not organic, that means it's been sprayed with DDT and all this other stuff. It's in the soil, which means that when it's in the soil, it comes inside that fruit or vegetable, and you can scrub it, dub it all you want to on the outside. But it's the interior of the food that is being penetrated. And that's where you're getting your chemicals from. Yes, you need to scrub it, dub the outside, but you still have the infestation of the chemicals in the inside. So organic means free of pesticides, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has more nutrients. Why does it cost more? Because it costs more in order to prevent. All they got to do is get a plane cropper, cream duster, and just nuke that place of pesticide. Just nuke it. Come across, spray everything. But then when it rains, where's the chemicals go? In the soil. That means that you are now getting the chemicals from the soil. When it's organic, now you're going to have to do different. And now that costs more. So you're paying for lack of pesticides. See, that's something you never maybe thought about. You're thinking, well, I'm getting organic, it's got more nutrients. Not necessarily. That string bean, pound for pound, might be the same. But should you go organic? Absolutely. You don't have to do everything. But definitely, if you're eating the skin, you need to have organic for that. If you're not eating the skin, I wouldn't worry about it as much. You know, because it's organic expensive, y'all. Y'all know that. You look at the ticket like, what? It could be double sometime. So the issue is going to be string beans. Yeah, you might want to go organic. Cauliflower? Yeah, probably. Even your onions, y'all. That's debatable. That's a debatable one. That's a debatable one. Carrots, for sure. Because them suckers are just soaking in the soil. Your onions, but I would rather omit the onions being organic. I don't think really onions are going to be an issue. But out of them all, any of your leafy green vegetables have to be organic, especially your spinach. Spinach, people are like, well, why would I want to get organic spinach? Because spinach happens to be the most hot, one of the most, if not the most highly sprayed of all green vegetables is spinach. Reason being is because nobody's going to have bugs. Nobody wants bugs in their spinach. You're not going to go to the supermarket and see a bunch of bug holes and say, yeah, that's the spinach I'm buying. Nope. You're not. So kale, they don't really like. They don't really like kale. It's, they don't, but they like spinach. So spinach is highly. And the second one, we talk about this all the time, is your berries. All your berries. Any berries have to also be organic because they are highly sprayed. So we go back to, if we go back to frozen and if we go back to frozen and fresh, here would be a couple of tips I'm going to give you about fresh, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips that would essentially be frozen. If it's fresh, it's going to be more advantageous for you to keep the vegetables in the refrigerator and separating it in a shelf from fruit. So let's say you have like we have a refrigerator. Our refrigerator, we have two drawers at the bottom. One drawer is nothing but fruit, and the other drawer is nothing but vegetables. Because what happens is that the fruits will sends out a gas. And that gas almost acts as a enhancer to make your foods spoil quicker. It's almost the same analogy as what I was saying before, where they spray in the warehouse to make these things expedite. Well, it's the same thing, because a lot of your citrus foods, also the same thing you smell in that lemony or that's a gas. They emit gas, and that gas expedites the oxidation process of all your vegetables. So separate your vegetables and your fruits. They should be separate in your refrigerator. Do not commingle them. You got me? You separate them either in a section, you separate them either in a drawer, but do not combine them, because you are messing up. The big issue doing that. Second thing is, if you're making a salad, don't buy the salad that is together. So buy romaine by itself. Then buy, if you want the spinach mix or anything else, buy that separately. And if you like, like us, I like the spring mix, but I buy a small spring mix. Because if you have salad all the time, which one wilts the fastest? Spring mix. And if you get the spring mix with the romaine and with everything else, what wilts the most? The spring mix. That destroys the rest of it. My daughter won't touch it if it starts wilting. Man, I'm like, I guess I'm putting this in my smoothie. I just take it. I'll just take it, just dump the rest in my smoothie. I ain't throwing it away like y'all. I throw it in my smoothie. But the issue is going to be if you separate it. Here's your romaine, here's your spinach mix, and here's your the other one I just said, forgot the name. But if you separate them, and then when you make your salad, now combine them. Because now you can control, because each one of the leaves, they break down quicker. Second thing about steaming. Here's the last thing I'm going to talk about with fresh. To keep the nutrients in place, it's better for you to blanch. When you blanch, you're just heating it up, and you're still keeping all of the nutrients inside. You're just steaming it, making it warmer, and then you're ready to go, because you're not trying to cook it. The more you heat it, the more nutrients you're releasing from it. All right. Let me give you a couple of things about now frozen, and then I'm going to leave that table open to give you guys a couple of minutes. Always read the label. Anything that's frozen, read your labels. Because if you're going to buy any frozen produce, you want to get produce that has no sugar in it. There is no reason why you should be getting some frozen vegetables that says sugar. So make sure you look at there, make sure there's no sugar and no salt. Next, same exact thing. If you're getting frozen vegetables, do not just put them in water and like boil them. Again, too much of that, you're losing the fiber, you're losing the nutrients, and now all the nutrients is in the water as opposed to you actually eating them. You might as well just drink the water and then leave the rest. So here would be your scenario blanching for those that maybe not understanding what that is. You're bringing the pot to a boil. You're bringing it to pot with a boil, but you've just a little bit, like just a skimming amount of water in there. But you have a pot that you can close it so it can maintain the steam. You're putting in a little pinch of salt, throwing your vegetables, keeping it in there for only a few minutes until it's tender, and immediately take it out and then pat dry it. The water, because now it's got water on it. Now you want to put it in like a little calendar. You got some paper towels on there and you put it in the paper towels and get the water out. But you're doing this as soon as you're ready to eat. Right? So if you're about to sit down and eat, that's when you blanch it. So it's hot and you can serve it right to your plate, because the longer you wait, the longer it wilts, the longer it gets softer, especially if it's frozen. So blanching means as soon as you finish, a little bit of salt, a little bit of water, as soon as you're ready to sit down and eat, that's when you do that. And now, boom, you got it nice and hot. It's crunchy. It's ready to go. All right. Last thing I'm going to give you with this is things like frozen peas. The easiest way to make them thawed would be just to run them in water. So like frozen peas would be the exact same thing. You can put them in water, but you want those to completely thaw. Because what happens is if you do it that way, then you're going to help it to be more firm and delicious. Because the issue is you don't want it to be frozen. A lot of people don't buy frozen vegetables because they don't know how to cook it. They overcook them and they're too soft. If you blanch it and just hit it with a little bit of heat, that's it. And the last one would be using Ziplocs, or using, some people use Ziplocs. Some people have, I don't, but some people have those little vacuum bags. You know what I mean? Like they'll take it, like they'll get the frozen, but they'll have a vacuum bag, and the vacuum bag kind of self-seals. So every time, because remember, you putting in a Ziploc, there's still oxygen in it. So it can still, there's being oxidation. But if you're getting those little vacuum bags, a lot of people now actually get them, and they're actually a lot cheaper now than they used to be. That a lot of people would take the frozen bag that they have and whatever they need, but then they'll have that and they'll take the air out, and it kind of sucks down, and now you can just drop them in there, drop them in your freezer, and you're saving space. That makes sense, y'all? Because sometimes you put in these Ziplocs, you got all this air still in here, and you're trying to stuff it in there, but you got to get rid of the air before you do all that. So the bottom line is that I'm a big fan of frozen vegetables, especially if it's just the two of you, you don't have a big family. And the second thing is that especially when it's not in season. So the two things you really want to focus on is you're going to get your frozen vegetables. You want to make sure they're organic, number one. Number two, if they're not in season, that's excellent. Number three, just because you're getting vegetables from a local produce here doesn't mean they're not spraying it with some kind of chemical. So the benefit is that you're getting it from a local manufacturer. The oxidation process, that means you got most of the nutrients there. But if that farmer is not putting anything in the soil to create the nutrients to make that soil nutritious, yeah, it looks nice, But are you getting, are you getting the benefits of what you think you are? It's another, you might be just getting a bunch of fiber, but you may not be getting the nutrients. All right. So I'm excited about this document. I'll send it out tomorrow. It's about 5 pages, but it gives you a lot of nuggets about tips, some of the things that we talked about today, some of the advantages of having frozen and fruit and frozen and fresh, and what is the likelihood to the benefit. The benefit is that if you get a lot of things that are frozen, you're probably going to get more nutrients than everything you're getting locally. And that's the truth, because it has to do with oxidation. All right. So I hope that helped. Like I said, I'm just trying to squeeze this all up in here 1 hour. I do want to leave this table open, that if you have anything that's on your mind, please, let's talk about that. So anybody have a question? Anything? Anybody got a question? Anybody got a question? Anybody?
So you telling me that I need to be eating rotten bananas instead of firm bananas?
I'm saying don't throw it away. I'm saying don't throw away them old rotten bananas. I'd rather you just freeze them and then use them for something else, like banana bread, like in your smoothie, like making whole wheat banana waffles, right? You could use the bananas for other stuff, but a nice one is to put in your smoothie, only to half.
Right.
A nice one would be taking it and making, like I make carrot muffins. And a lot of times when I'm making the carrot muffin, I'll use my sweetener as maybe some of the bananas that I have that were frozen. So instead of me using a bunch of brown sugar, I might use a banana to substitute the brown sugar. I might use some dates. I might use some dragon fruit. I might use a little agave. I might not, because remember, you understand that brown sugar is just white sugar with molasses.
Yeah.
Okay. It ain't like, you ain't doing nothing. All you're doing is getting some molasses and white sugar. So does it change the dynamic of the flavor? Yeah, because that molasses changes the flavor. That's why, right? But essentially you're having white sugar. So what can you do to eliminate the sugar and enhance it with something else? And many times, especially if it's like a loaf or bread or something like that, that banana can change the flavor, but it's, it's up to everybody's taste. Like I see your face cringing right now. So you ain't buying that, Donna. I
No, I'm buying it. I am.
Right. But no,
I'm just not Betty Crocker anymore.
Yeah.
I'm tired of cooking after COVID and being locked down and having to cook 3 meals a day.
Yep.
So
now, here's one thing let me say about that, y'all. I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm going to leave it like that. Anybody have questions? Excellent. But here was the thing that I ask you now that everybody's busting out the seams trying to go back to these restaurants. And I got this message on Tuesday. Somebody asked me this question on Tuesday. So I'm going to bring it up because I do a nutrition workshop on Tuesdays. And somebody had mentioned about that. The recommendation to me was that if you're going out somewhere in advance, I would ask you to go to that particular website and look at the menu before you leave. Go to the menu, and normally these companies now have an area that shows healthy choices or something like that, right? Usually there's a little green leaf on it and whatever. It's a little section. But what you want to do is you want to go to before you go to the restaurant, you want to look at that online and then have an idea. Boom, 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 boom. Here's 3 of the things I'm going to go with. And shoot, you might want to find out they got an early bird special. You know what I mean? Fine. Save a couple nickels. Save a couple nickels real quick. But you do want to go there and find out that, right? So now you go there and you already have in your set, okay, I'm having 3 things. 3 things I'm going to use. Because what you might end up doing is your husband now said, oh, well, I'm gonna get me some shrimp Alfredo. I know that it's probably good. And guess what? All of a sudden, you're like, honey, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that now. At least in your head, you said, okay, they got the rice pilaf, they got the salmon, blah, 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 whatever. So it's better to have a game plan before you get to the restaurant and then do that. Right? That makes sense, y'all. There's always going to be a healthy choice that you can use and then operate from there. Start with a salad, right? Get yourself a house salad. Second thing, when the gentleman or the female comes, when they give you a meal, you ask them for a doggy bag right there. Say, when I get the meal, oh, can you bring me a doggy bag also? So when you open up this meal, you already section it in half, right? Boom. One half in the doggy bag. Other half you consume. You know why? Because you already had a house salad. You had a house salad. Stomach's getting full. Now you can enjoy this meal. You ain't got to gorge it. So you do like me. I joke around this, but I won't do that. I'll preach it, but I may not do it. And I'm chipping at it, right? My intentions is right. I'm gonna have half. My wife does it. Literally, she'll tell them, "Can you bring a doggy bag?" And he says, "Sir, would you like one?" I said, "No, I'm good." Because I think I can just use my self-control. So she takes a doggy bag, puts it in there, and she's out the door. She take the other half and she's content. Me, on the other hand, I'm chipping at it because it's good. I'm chipping. I'm chipping. I keep chipping. Now there's a quarter left. And I'm like, well, ain't no making no sense for me this big old thing and put this little piece in. I'm also just finish it. So now I finish it. I'm miserable. My wife's fine, right? I'm miserable the rest of the night because my stomach's full. And guess what? Now tomorrow, when she had the rest of her shrimp, whatever, and she heated it up, and I'm looking at her like, babe, can I have some? She said, no, you ate your whole thing. What you asking for? No. And I can't. So now I got to look at her. No. So do what my wife does and not what I do, right? Get a doggy bag in advance, split that thing in half immediately. Now you got another meal and you can have that tomorrow for lunch. The other one, and you're satisfied. Because what happens is we eat too much and our brain didn't catch up with the stomach. And now you get to the point where you're like, oh man, now I'm sitting back in this chair. And now I'm like, oh, I got to drive home now. And I'm asking the waiter, y'all got a little sleeping area in the back where I could take a nap? And obviously they say no. So that was the tip, just to kind of spin off what Donna was saying. Any other questions though? Any other questions? Anything, y'all? Anything? Any questions? Anything from y'all? All of y'all good? Ooh, that's exciting, boy.
Oh, Wallace, I had a question. Mine is particular. That's right. It's always somebody.
You know I'm messing with you, Candace. Go ahead. And welcome, Candace, y'all. Welcome, Candace. She's 60 days. She all in it to win it, boy. She is in it to win it, too.
With this app, which is, all of this is still new to me. I have the Trainerize app, my Fitness Pal, then I have my Fitbit, and they're all, connected together. And it seems like because I have my Fitbit in there, it's tracking my activity and my steps, and it's telling me now I can have more calories because I burned some.
Oh, she about to. You look at the rest of them. Oh no,
it's showing me that net thing, and I'm like, should I disconnect the Fitbit, or because it's showing me the net carbs and all of that based on the activity.
Right.
And I'm thinking that I'm within the, proper boundaries, but it's not, because it's subtracting, it's adding calories back.
Absolutely.
That it says are remaining. So how do I get a handle on that?
Excellent question. All right. So the key is, no, you don't get a bonus because you did all this exercise. Your objective would be to put yourself in a caloric deficit, right? So if you got 1,300 calories and you burn 500, you put yourself in a caloric deficit of 500. So the only thing you want to do is you want to look at what the MyFitnessPal says, and your focus is going no higher than 1,300. Right? You can look at all the other numbers, because what happens is you've got different theories. And MyFitnessPal has their own theory. The Fitbit has their own theory, right? It's the same thing. If we weren't together and you put into MyFitnessPal, many times MyFitnessPal says, no, you can have 1,700 calories. I'm like, really? So,
Right.
because it has
Right.
to do with what you put in there, right? And a lot of people are not putting in the truth. So you don't put in the truth, the numbers ain't going to come out right. And then they're really looking at it from a different aspect. We're looking at it from, number one, is we don't have to eat as much. And number two, that you're focusing on controlling your carbohydrates. And if you control your carbohydrates, you're getting more proteins and fats, and that allows you to be more satiated. But what happens is if you just go by the number, if I get 1,700, then you're going to eat all these carbs, and then you're never going to lose any more weight because you might have 200 grams of carbohydrates in the day, but you're not regulating that. The regulator is going to be your 1,300, and the second regulator is going no more than 100 grams. Those are your two regulators. Anything over that, if you burn 700 calories, 600 calories, boy, that's a bonus to you. Because if you burn 500 calories every single day and you did that for 7 days in a row, at the end of the week, you burn 3,500 calories, and 3,500 calories equates to 1 pound.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that over the course of the month and you burn 3,500 calories, if you were minus deficit 3,500 calories for the whole month, you lost 4 pounds. And that's 4 pounds of real weight, not the water weight, not the stuff that's going to come back next week, next month, and so on. That's real significant weight. And the more you continue to do that, you have what's called a thermic effect. And the thermic effect is you turn your body into a furnace. And now your body continues to expedite and lose more weight as you continue to do that process. So your leverage is going to be going no more whatsoever. I don't care what MyFitnessPal says. I don't care what Fitbit says. Go for it. They're like, oh, you can do 500 more, 1,000 more. No, you cannot, because we want you to be at a caloric deficit. So all those numbers, yes, I don't want any of that confusion. I just want you to stay with the standard that we're talking about. It's 1,300 is your max. And then more importantly, this is more important than the 1,300, is the 100 grams, not to go past that one.
Okay, well, I'm just not sure. Maybe I don't have it set up right. Because it's telling me what's remaining.
Yes. You're talking about MyFitnessPal right now, or the Fitbit?
MyFitnessPal.
Right. So the MyFitnessPal is going to give you 4 things probably. One is your goal, which is 1,300, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, what I'm looking at now, it shows me the net carbs, fat, protein, and calories. All
right. So that one circle, if you tap that, you just have to change the front. That front page is showing you the one that you want to have in front is going to say the one that says carbohydrates, the amount of the amount, your goal, which is 1,300, your goal, which is 1,300, the amount of calories you consume, the exercise that you did, and then whatever is the difference, right? Okay. So in the front, if you tap that, all you want to do is you want to change the setting to show that and not what you're looking at, because what it's doing right now, it's showing you the net carbs.
Okay. So, so I changed that where it shows the goal of 1,300.
Yes.
And then it says minus the food.
Yes.
But it still says plus exercise.
Yeah, but how much exercise do you have there?
It says 594.
Excellent. So what you did is you put yourself at 509. If you had how many calories did you have today?
It says 1,008.
Oh, so you're rolling. Okay, so you did 1,008, and remember you were able to have 1,300, right? Okay. So you got 1,008. You could have had 1,300. The second one is so you had your goal 1,300. You have 1,008. Here you have, let's say 500 rounded.
Yeah.
At the end, now it's giving you that you can have more.
Right.
But I want you to look at that as this is your deficit of what you basically gained as a bonus.
Right. So pretty much just eliminate the exercise portion to find out what the real number is.
Yep, but you want to look at the exercise portion as your benefit. So let's say like it could sit here and say to you, your goal was 1,300, but you burned 500, so you can have 1,800 instead. But you don't want to do it that way. What you want to do is, right? You know what I mean? So you look at the exercise to say, man, I burned 500. So actually I'm in a deficit, because your goal is, if you think about it, you're in a deficit today of 500 plus the 200. The 200 because you only had 1,000 plus the 500 because you did the exercise. That leaves you with 7. So you're a deficit of 700 today.
Okay.
If you did that every single day, you're losing a lot of real weight at the end of the, right?
Right.
But you don't get a medal. You don't get a bonus if you keep coming in at 1,000 though. Because the amount of energy that you're burning, that 500, you could also look at the other way, that you ate 1,000, but you burned 500. So really you only ate 800 for the day.
Okay.
Well, 700, whatever it is.
Right.
So really, is that enough energy? So you got to look at it 2 ways.
Right. Exactly. Okay. One last thing. So what do I go look at to see exactly how many carbs?
If you press that button, press it again, it's going to show you now a pie chart. Touch that one thing again. It shows your pie chart, and it'll show you the percentages of each one. Do you see that? Or you can scroll down to the bottom of it. You'll see a pie chart. You see a pie chart?
No.
You're using Android or iPhone?
I have iPhone.
So on the bot, if you press that circle, just like you just changed the dynamics, if you scroll down to the bottom, and on the bottom, it should show you what you did today for calorically. And it should give you a pie chart that'll show you the percentages of your fat, carbs, and proteins.
Right. But it still says net carbs. So is that taking away some of the carbs based on the exercise?
Yeah. So your net carbs is based, and I don't want you to see, I don't want people to get into making this a math project, because when you do that, net carbs is essentially fiber. That means that your body isn't utilizing that. It's just turned it into fiber. So net carbs basically meaning that that's not sugar, it's fiber, but the body's not utilizing except for fiber. So it's still calories, but technically you could minus it and be less carbohydrates. But see, now we make it in a math exam. So you can look at the net carbs and say, man, I did good today because my net carbs are high. That means that I'm not consuming as much sugar. I'm actually eating a lot of fiber. So a person who's a pescatarian or a person who's a vegan, it really benefits them to look at the net carbs, because 95% of their food is carbohydrates. For them, it's super important for them to find out what is sugar, right? Your carbohydrates are either sugar or they're net carbs, which means fiber. For them, it's super important for them to find out what is the net carbs, because then they can kind of minus that out. Because a vegetarian or a vegan might look at theirs and say, yeah, Wallace, I did 140 carbohydrates. But now they look at the net carbs and they see the net carbs is 70. So really they could take the 130 and minus the 70. So which means they're still below, right? Because net carbs, whatever the net carbs is basically fiber, and which means it does not affect your blood glucose level. That makes sense?
Yeah. I was hoping I could just look at this thing and it would tell me at face value where I was in terms of going over 100 grams.
Yeah. So
it does. I know exactly what she's going through, because I struggle too.
Good.
On that same page, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Candace.
Candace, I'm Jackie.
Hi.
On that same page, if you go down to the very bottom, where it shows you the totals. Do you see where I'm talking about? You'll see. Okay, I just lost it. Okay.
Because the feature is a little bit different on Android and the iPhone. So Jackie has an iPhone. So
I've got an iPhone.
yeah.
Okay, so do I.
You're looking at today's food intake for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, right? Is that the page you're on?
No, but I can go to that page.
Yeah, that would be
that page that's in the diary. Okay.
Go to the very bottom of the page after snacks, and you'll see totals.
Should be at the very bottom part.
At the very, very bottom.
It'll summarize everything for you.
And it summarizes everything that you've had for that day. It gives you your goals as well as what's remaining. The first column is calories.
Okay, I'm not seeing that.
Okay. I was just trying to help here. Obviously, it's not working.
So here's what you can do also. Now, remember, Candace, you could go in the Trainerize app and still get that. So let's make it a little bit easier.
Okay.
If you go to the Trainerize, just because actually she's right, but what happens is the field that you're in, see, there's 3 different fields, and the field that you're in is not the same field that Jackie's in.
Okay.
But everyone, if they have everything set up, and that's what I try to make sure, and I'm looking at yours, and you can do this, is if you go to the Trainerize app, let's just do that, and anybody else on here can do the same thing. So let's say you go to the front page, you see where it says that you see your calendar where it says things to do today.
Yes.
You see where it says your circles and it says your goals, how many proteins, carbs, and so on, right?
Yes.
Touch that button.
Touch what button?
Touch these circles, those where the 4 circles are.
Okay.
All right, touch that. And now you're going to see, if you take your thumb and go to the right, you see where it shows your macro distribution breakdown of like a circle.
No.
You see that?
Nope.
No? All right. When you press the circle, what does it say? When you touch that circle, does it open up to another field?
Now, which circle are you talking about?
The 4 circles that it shows where your meals are. It shows calories, proteins, carbs, and fat. You see that circle on the top? Does anybody see that?
Yes. Yeah, I see it.
All right.
I see it. And you can slide it over to the right.
Yeah. You touch that. And now it's going to show you another field, right?
Okay. Are we on the dash page?
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a circle at the top?
No. The 4, where it says your meals, and it shows you your calories, proteins, carbs, and fat. There's 4 circles right there, right before your exercises.
Touch any of those circles.
Touch any of those.
Okay.
All right. Now what happens?
It should bring up a screen that says today.
It brings up a screen that says today.
All right. Now swipe to the right. What happens if you swipe to the right?
It should say sync for MyFitnessPal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you see the same 4 circles?
Yes.
Now you see below it says macro distribution.
Yes.
That's your percentages right there of what you did for today.
Okay.
You see where it says fats, proteins, and carbs?
Yep.
So remember what we said is your goal is 30. 30 for carbs, 30 for protein, and then your 40 for protein, 30 for carbs, 30 for fat. If you look at your distribution right now, I ain't gonna say what it is, but you see it. I ain't gonna tell the world, that ain't their business.
Oh, I ain't shame.
Right? So what do you want to do? The easiest way for you to look at that is that. So and now scroll down further, scroll down.
All right.
You see where it says calories and macros? Now it gives you your caloric breakdown and what's remaining. You see that?
Okay.
That's what you got. If your carbs, if it's in yellow, that means you went over. Or it shows you, right? Does everybody else see that? Did everybody do that also?
Yeah, I see
So-
that, but mine, it says sync from MyFitnessPal, but it's not, didn't populate. Mine is empty. And I've documented in MyFitnessPal.
All right.
So I think this might be the issue that we said we were going to look at the last time we were together and never did. So it's
All right,
okay.
let me
Maybe
see.
I'll have you look at it on Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you
hold on.
said if it's in yellow, that means you went over.
If it's yellow, it means that you're getting close,
Okay. All right.
right? And so, Donna, I see yours.
But I don't see it though.
Okay.
It's grayed out for me.
Do you have
Okay.
an iPhone?
Yeah, I have an iPhone.
Have you updated your iPhone? Because I was having the same problem a couple of days ago. And the problem was I had not updated the iPhone. As soon as I did that, everything fell into place.
You're not talking about the new 14.08 update, are you?
I think I am.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did. It's on automatic update. So anytime there's a update, it automatically
It
updates.
automatically does it.
And
Okay.
here would be the same thing that I would do also, because Donna, I see yours clearly. It's
Okay.
Like here.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
second thing I would do is for your Trainerize app, I would close it and then reopen it.
Okay.
Right? In other words,
I'll
just
try that.
swipe it to close it and then reopen it. And then tell me.
Okay.
If not, we'll walk through that. No problem.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
sorry, Candace. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
No. This is good. This is what I need to see.
But you're seeing the macros, right? Because what you were looking for, everything's right there. You don't have to go to MyFitnessPal.
Okay.
But you do want to go to the MyFitnessPal to put in everything. But if you want to look at only today, then you can go right into Trainerize and you can see everything that you need to.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
to get in the
because-
nuts and bolts of it, you can go back to MyFitnessPal. But if you just want to see a snapshot of everything you did, as long as we had it connected and synced, then you're good.
Yeah, because the MyFitnessPal was giving me the net carbs.
Right. Because
So that was giving me the picture that I had more remaining
Right.
than I actually did.
right.
So when I didn't know the exact number, and when I thought I was doing pretty good, it said, "Oh nope, you went over."
Right. And remember, their philosophy is different than what you're trying. See, their goal, the MyFitnessPal goal is a lot different than the goal that we're trying to reach.
Okay.
MyFitnessPal is saying you eat all you want. And as a matter of fact, if you got more carbs and calories, you can eat it. And we're saying, no, utilize that as your weight loss, because it's almost like an incentive to eat more. That's not the point. The point is to get you to somewhere where you feel comfortable at eating 1,300
Right.
and then stay there. And then now you're benefiting from all the caloric activity and you're losing weight. For them, they're like, just as your lifestyle, just go ahead, 1,600, go for it. Matter of fact, you burn more calories because you did exercise. You could have another 700. Like, what are you doing now? You could easily eat 800 calories,
Right.
1,800
Right.
calories.
Right. And you
Doing-
might not gain any weight, but you're not gonna lose none.
No, you gonna gain weight.
You gonna gain weight.
Mm-mm.
Ain't no might not.
Ain't no might. You gonna gain weight. So the philosophy is wrong, but their app and the way they track the food is on point for
Okay.
what my needs are. Right. So that's what I kind of want people to understand, that the philosophy is not what we want to use. We want to use the foundation that we're building, but what you putting in there is essential for your success, because you get to see what you're eating and you can control what you're eating and modify when you're over.
Okay.
Make sense, y'all?
Yeah.
I hope that actually benefit everybody else. I hope that
Yeah.
you took a couple minutes and went to the MyFitnessPal and walked through and swiped
Mhm.
left, right, because maybe some of you didn't realize that feature is there, but I hope that you took advantage of that so you don't have to flip flop back and forth,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
learned something tonight too.
right?
Yeah. Thank you very
Mhm.
much, Jackie.
I don't know if I helped, but okay.
Well, actually you did, because the thing is that the iPhone this is the exact same thing about, everybody having issues when they updated the Trainerize. I'm looking at my Trainerize. I'm like, yo, I'm good. I'm uploading. My videos are showing. Everything's running smooth. But y'all were like, no, Wallace, I got some problems.
Yeah.
So what was this? The thing though was it was affecting the iPhone setup more than it was the Android setup. So a lot of people that had Android were having a lot of issues. Android has their own like, like they are very selfish about their platform. Right. So every time there's an update, you got to like do this extra step. And a lot of times it ends up creating a bug, and then that affects everybody. Right. So it took a little longer for the iPhone folks into the Android, but I'm glad everybody's on point. And if there is anybody that's not, please give me a call so we can rectify that. And Donna, if you can't get your thing to sync, let's talk about that also.
No, I think I found what the issue was. So I have my watch connected. And so from a device perspective, it's only allowing me to add one device, not two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I need to just choose whether or not I'm going to add MyFitnessPal or my watch, which I wear all the time. So
yeah,
I'll figure it out.
Okay.
But I got it. Thank you.
But see, you can take the Apple Watch and connect it to the MyFitnessPal and then allow them. And then allow the MyFitnessPal to connect to the Trainerize.
Correct.
That would be an easier one, because really your iPhone, your Apple Watch, you really just want to know your caloric activity so you can see what your deficit is. Right. So if that's the case, let that sync to MyFitnessPal, and then let the MyFitnessPal connect and sync to your Trainerize.
Right. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take my watch off of it.
Yeah. That'll prevent the conflict, because it doesn't want to do both.
Yeah.
Because then it starts doubling the numbers, and now your numbers is all.
Well, it won't even connect both. It's either or. So
I see. It'll lock out one. Okay, I got you, folks. I appreciate your time, and we went over, but I think it was very beneficial for us to do that, and I think probably y'all got a lot of benefit out of it too. So I appreciate y'all listening. Thank you so much, y'all. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a great night, y'all.
Bye.
Peace. Take care. See y'all.